Hello, I'm going to do a video tour of my library. I have approximately 800 volumes. Small in my opinion. Some may disagree, but it's kind of what it is. Alright, currently my wife's been working from home, so my desk has kind of been taken over by computers. Oh well. So we'll start up here. This is Sermons, Exposition of Holy Scripture by Alexander Mclaren. Has the entire set. I have Spurgeon sermons, Martin Luther sermons, Calvin sermons on Galatians, select sermons of George Whitefield, stuff by McCartney, just a few other things, Vincent Word Studies. That's the end of my sermon. So coming down, we have some, actually technically here's Sunday school notes from this old Baptist Sunday school notes. Some copies of Modern Farmer magazine. And then this is just a few things at random. Fundamentals. And then this starts our particular Baptist section. And then we get into like some Puritan paperbacks and other paperback books. I guess other paperbacks than the Puritan paperbacks. And then there is just a few theological journals. I don't have many of them, but it's really hard. This room is probably about, I don't know, 6 by 8 maybe. It's kind of small, but it's perfect for a small study. Then we're going to have commentaries up here. That's the Westminster Confession of Faith and 2 Psalters. They're kind of out of place, but have Calvin's commentaries, Barnes' notes on the New Testament, a little bit better. Have Matthew Poole's commentary, Matthew Henry's commentary, Volume 1 of a Jamieson, Fawcett, and Brown, Adam Clark's commentary, and then here we get into single books of the Bible commentaries. So this is Old Testament Bible History by Alfred Edersheim. I believe that just covers the Pentateuch. I may be wrong, but next is Psalm 119, Treasury of David by Spurgeon, Ryle set on the Gospels. Coming down here. And then here's our small section on Calvinism. And then stuff on preaching. I need to put all that together, but with sermons, but I haven't yet. And we have John Brown of Haddington, Psalm of David and Meter, Valley of Vision, and then Morning and Evening with Spurgeon. Then down here we have some older books. Just a few like literary things, just going into history and biographies. And then we have more history down here. Here is my reference books. I have an interlinear Bible. Some yearbooks from high school. All right, then coming up here, we have complete works, or what I have of complete works in alphabetical order. We start with, I have just 2 volumes of the works of William Bates. I have the complete works of Charnock, Edwards, just a book here by Finlayson, Andrew Gray, only volume 3 of John Mary's works. Just one of Matt Manton. This is a good book. I want to promote this real quick. Currently, we are attending a congregation in the Presbyterian Reformed Church, and William Young was one of the founders along with John Murray, and this is his just more or less select writings. It's pretty helpful. So I'll hold this. That's some stuff there. Then next to that, I kind of start the theology section, like systematic theologies. Start with Calvin's Institutes of Religion. This is John Brown of Haddington, the Compendium of Natural and Revealed Religion. This was republished by Reformation Heritage. Hodge's Systematic Theology by Berkhoff. This, Reformed Dogmatics by Berkhoff. This is like the very first edition of this. Before it was called this, it was called this, from what I gather. I may be wrong. Someone corrects me. It's fine. Not going to argue the point. It's just neat to have. Here is Reformed Dogmatics by G.H. Kirsten. Introduction to Theological Studies by William Cunningham, Scottish Presbyterian. I'm coming down here. This is like an abridged edition of Reformed Dogmatics. Watson's Body of Divinity. Herman Vitzius's Economy of the Covenants. If anyone hasn't read these are very good. They are excellent for Reformed theology. They give a good overview and really answer a lot of questions and stuff. So I would recommend that to anyone. Then we kind of get into theology proper. Throughout here, Doctrine of God. Actually, this is more or less covenant theology. And then theology proper starts here. God Without Passions. The Primer and the Reader is very helpful books by the Renahans. Some stuff here on God's attributes, and this is pneumatology. Gerhardus's Voss biblical theology. And this gets into like election, salvation, predestination, stuff like that. Then right here we start the atonement. And going through to about right here. Got a decent section on that so far. What I've been trying to do, you'll notice too, like this is on just the Doctrine of Man and stuff. I only have 2 books of that, but I'm kind of trying to keep everything in order. That way, as my study grows and my library grows, I can keep all the subjects together. I used to separate everything alphabetical by author, but it just got to the point where I have too many and you can't find what you need. So here's our section on justification. And then here we start getting into ecclesiology and sacramentology. Ruling Elder by Samuel Miller. I picked that up the other day. It's wonderful. This is really neat. I have the Necessity of Reforming the Church by John Calvin, autographed by Robert Godfrey. Very thankful to have that. It may not be worth a whole lot, but it's nice to have. This is our section on eschatology. I'm post-mill if anybody cares. So here we have starting confessions and catechisms through over here. I still have that Westminster confession that I need to work in here. It's just my shelf's very tight. I gotta figure out a place to put it. Then starting right here, we start some church history. Got this the other day. The Days of Our Father in Rothshire by John Kennedy of Dingwell. I wasn't very impressed by the binding, but it's a rare book, and I was glad to get it. There's a few other things through here. Here's a book on the well-meant offer of the gospel by Joseph Hussey. It's pretty neat. I haven't really looked a lot into it, but right here starts our experimental religion section. Going on over to about right here. And then that book's experimental religion as well. This is our section on prayer. As it grows, I will have more than 2 books in the section. This is my one and only book right now on the 10 Commandments. As it grows, that'll grow as well. There's a few things like book on the temple. Just a few books at random. I guess right here would start biographies. And then down here is more Christian biographies. A book on Billy Graham. few things. Sorry about the camera, filming with my cell phone. Then here we start biographies on biblical characters. So this is on Jesus, Elijah and Elisha, and a few things, stuff from Paul. And then here we start a section on biblical studies, text and canon, I guess you want to call it that. B.B. Warfield's book on inspiration and authority of the Bible. Edward Hill's King James Version Defended. That was actually once called like the Reformed View of Scripture or something like that, and it got republished and the name changed. So, and then here we start apologetics and all the way over through here. So, pen cup, friends from Mexico got that for me. And then down here on the floor we have just some pamphlets. And then here's some of my wife's books. They're kind of more or less mixed in with devotionals. Here's some Bibles. Still have a Schofield Study Bible. I'm not a dispensationalist. I picked this up the other day. It's pretty neat. That's my Greek section, I guess. This is New Testament Greek for Beginners by J. Gresham Machen. It's actually pretty neat to pick that up. Thankful for that. And then here's some stuff on baseball, sports, gardening, American Standard of Perfection right here. That's on keeping poultry, and if you show poultry, I used to have some poultry. I'd like to get some more. Stuff on fish, fly fishing, more stuff on animals, keeping stuff, and here's my small section on logic right there. Those two books. So, but yeah, and then people usually like to ask, what percentage of my library have I read? I don't know. I've used every book I have, probably. Almost every book, probably 90% of it. I was given about 8 boxes of books a few months ago, so I drastically increased everything for a while. Cover to cover, I've not read as much as I'd like. I don't know, maybe a 10th cover to cover, but I've benefited from much in here. I do want to show this before I forget. I have the RPCNA Constitution of 2018. Here, I'll just get these two down. My wife and I are not in the RPs, but here's a neat little binder thing. I guess they're like $1 a piece, but I hole punched it, almost made like a booklet thing out of it. So then here's a few things here. It's a neat little book that I've read. It's a little booklet printed by Michael Ives. He's a pastor in the Presbyterian Reformed Church. Found it very beneficial. And then I have the where's the start? I have the Constitution of the Presbyterian Reformed Church. Actually, it starts here. It's not exactly in a book format. I printed it offline and have it in print. And then here's a syllabus of supplemental study for students of the ministry in the Free Church of Scotland Continuing. I highlighted a book that I already had. But this is pretty good if you're preparing for ministry for anybody, not just if you're a Presbyterian, but if you're a Reformed Baptist or something. This would have a lot of good stuff to just kind of glean from, or if you're just kind of planning on being in the ministry at some point, but not really there yet. At least here's a good beginner section of what books you could start collecting and adding to your library. It's been helpful. I've kind of grabbed some from it. So, but anyways, but yeah, that's my study. Thanks for watching. See y'all later.